Paul, a servant of Christ Jesus, called to be an apostle and set apart for the gospel of God. The gospel he promised beforehand through his prophets in the holy scriptures regarding his son, who was a descendant of David according to the flesh, and who through the spirit of holiness was declared with power to be the Son of God by his resurrection from the dead, Jesus Christ our Lord. Through him and on behalf of his name we receive grace and apostleship to call all those among the Gentiles to the obedience that comes from faith. And you also are among those who are called to belong to Jesus Christ. To all in Rome who are loved by God and called to be saints, grace and peace to you from God our Father and the Lord Jesus Christ. First, I thank my God through Jesus Christ for all of you, because your faith is being proclaimed all over the world. God, whom I serve with my spirit and preaching the gospel of his son, is my witness how constantly I remember you in my prayers at all times, asking that now at last by God's will I may succeed in coming to you. For I long to see you so that I may impart to you some spiritual gift to strengthen you, that is, that you and I may be mutually encouraged by each other's faith. I do not want you to be unaware, brothers, how often I plan to come to you, but have been prevented from visiting until now, in order that I might have a harvest among you, just as I have had among the other Gentiles. I am obligated both to Greeks and non-Greeks, both to the wise and the foolish. That is why I am so eager to preach the gospel also to you who are in Rome. I am not ashamed of the gospel, because it is the power of God for salvation to everyone who believes. First to the Jew, then to the Greek, for the gospel reveals the righteousness of God that comes by faith from start to finish. Just as it is written, the righteous will live by faith.
Yeah. The wrath of God is being revealed from heaven against all the godlessness and wickedness of men who suppress the truth by their wickedness. For what may be known about God is plain to them, because God has made it plain to them. For since the creation of the world, God's invisible qualities, his eternal power and divine nature have been clearly seen, being understood from his workmanship, so that men are without excuse. For although they knew God, they neither glorified him as God nor gave thanks to him, but they became futile in their thinking and darkened in their foolish hearts. Although they claimed to be wise, they became fools and exchanged the glory of the immortal God for images of mortal men and birds and animals and reptiles. Therefore God gave them over in the desires of their hearts to impurity, for the dishonoring of their bodies with one another. They exchanged the truth of God for a lie, and worshipped and served the creature rather than the Creator, who is forever worthy of praise. Amen. For this reason God gave them over to dishonorable passions. Even their women exchanged natural relations for unnatural ones. Likewise the men abandoned natural relations with women to burn with lust for one another. Men committed indecent acts with other men and received in themselves the due penalty for their error. Furthermore, since they did not see fit to acknowledge God, he gave them up to a depraved mind to do what ought not to be done. They have become filled with every kind of wickedness, evil, greed, and depravity. They are full of envy, murder, strife, deceit, and malice. They are gossip, slanderers, God haters, insolent, arrogant, and boastful. They invent new forms of evil. They disobey their parents. They are senseless, faithless, heartless, merciless. Although they know God's righteous decree that those who do such things are worthy of death, they not only continue to do these things, but also approve of those who practice them.
You, therefore, have no excuse, you who pass judgment on another. For on whatever grounds you judge the other, you are condemning yourself, because you who pass judgment do the same things. And we know that God's judgment against those who do such things is based on truth. So when you, oh man, pass judgment on others, yet do the same things, do you think you will escape God's judgment? Or do you disregard the riches of his kindness, tolerance, and patience, not realizing that God's kindness leads you to repentance, But because of your hard and unrepentant heart, you are storing up wrath against yourself for the day of wrath. When God's righteous judgment will be revealed, God will repay each one according to his deeds. To those who by perseverance in doing good seek glory, honor, and immortality, he will give eternal life. But for those who are self-seeking and who reject the truth and follow wickedness, there will be wrath and anger. There will be trouble and distress for every human being who does evil. First for the Jew, then for the Greek. But glory, honor, and peace for everyone who does good. First for the Jew, then for the Greek. For God does not show favoritism. All who sin apart from the law will also perish apart from the law. And all who sin under the law will be judged by the law. For it is not the hearers of the law who are righteous before God, but it is the doers of the law who will be declared righteous. Indeed, when Gentiles who do not have the law do by nature what the law requires, they are a law to themselves, even though they do not have the law. So they show that the work of the law is written on their hearts, their consciences also bearing witness, and their thoughts either accusing or defending them on the day when God will judge men's secrets through Christ Jesus, as proclaimed by my gospel.
Yeah. Now if you call yourself a Jew, if you rely on the law and boast in God, if you know His will and approve of what is superior because you are instructed by the Lord, if you are convinced that you are a guide for the blind, a light for those in darkness, an instructor of the foolish, a teacher of infants, because you have in the law the embodiment of knowledge and truth. You then, who teach others, do you not teach yourself? You who preach against stealing, do you steal? You who forbid adultery, do you commit adultery? You who abhor idols, do you rob temples? You who boast in the law, do you dishonor God by breaking the law? As it is written, God's name is blasphemed among the Gentiles because of you. Circumcision has value if you observe the law, but if you break the law, your circumcision has become uncircumcision. If a man who is not circumcised keeps the requirements of the law, will not his uncircumcision be regarded as circumcision? The one who is physically uncircumcised yet keeps the law will condemn you, who, even though you have the written code and circumcision, are a lawbreaker. A man is not a Jew because he is one outwardly, nor is circumcision only outward and physical. No, a man is a Jew because he is one inwardly, and circumcision is a matter of the heart, by the Spirit, not by the written code. Such a man's praise does not come from men, but from God.
What then is the advantage of being a Jew? Or what is the value of circumcision? Much in every way. First of all, they have been entrusted with the very words of God. What if some did not have faith? Would their lack of faith nullify God's faithfulness? Certainly not. Let God be true and every man a liar, as it is written, so that you may be proved right when you speak and victorious when you judge. But if our unrighteousness highlights the righteousness of God, what shall we say? That God is unjust to inflict his wrath on us? I am speaking in human terms. Certainly not. In that case, how could God judge the world? However, if my falsehood accentuates God's truthfulness to the increase of his glory, why am I still condemned as a sinner? Why not say, as some slanderously claim that we say, let us do evil that good may result? Their condemnation is deserved. What then? Are we any better? Not at all, for we have already made the charge that Jews and Greeks alike are all under sin. As it is written, there is no one righteous, not even one. There is no one who understands, no one who seeks God. All have turned away, they have together become worthless. There is no one who does good, not even one. Their throats are open graves, their tongues practice deceit. The venom of vipers is on their lips, their mouths are full of cursing and bitterness. Their feet are swift to shed blood, ruin and misery lie in their wake, and the way of peace they have not known. There is no fear of God before their eyes. Now we know that whatever the law says, it says to those who are under the law, so that every mouth may be silenced and the whole world held accountable to God. Therefore, no one will be justified in his sight by works of the law, for the law merely brings awareness of sin.
Now, apart from the law, the righteousness of God has been revealed as attested by the law and the prophets. And this righteousness from God comes through faith in Jesus Christ. To all who believe, there is no distinction, for all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God, and are justified freely by His grace through the redemption that is in Christ Jesus. God presented Him as an atoning sacrifice in His blood through faith, in order to demonstrate His righteousness, because in His forbearance He had passed over the sins committed beforehand. He did this to demonstrate His righteousness at the present time, so as to be just and to justify the one who has faith in Jesus. Where then is boasting? It is excluded. On what principle? On that of works? No, but on that of faith. For we maintain that a man is justified by faith apart from the works of the law. Is God the God of Jews only? Is He not the God of Gentiles too? Yes, of Gentiles too. Since there is only one God who will justify the circumcised by faith and the uncircumcised through that same faith. Do we then nullify the law by this faith? Certainly not. Instead we uphold the law. What then? Shall we say that Abraham, our forefather according to the flesh, has discovered? If Abraham was indeed justified by works, he has something to boast about, but not before God. For what does the scripture say? Abraham believed God, and it was credited to him as righteousness. Now the wages of the worker are not credited as a gift, but as an obligation. However, to the one who does not work, but believes in Him who justifies the ungodly, his faith is credited as righteousness. And David speaks likewise of the blessedness of the man to whom God credits righteousness apart from works. Blessed are they whose lawless acts are forgiven, whose sins are covered. Blessed is the man whose sin the Lord will never count against him. Is this blessing only on the circumcised, or also on the uncircumcised? We have been saying that Abraham's faith was credited to him as righteousness. In what context was it credited? Was it after his circumcision or before? It was not after, but before. And he received the sign of circumcision as a seal of the righteousness that he had by faith while he was still uncircumcised. So then he is the father of all who believe but are not circumcised, in order that righteousness might be credited to them. And he is also the father of the circumcised, who not only are circumcised, but who also walk in the footsteps of the faith that our father Abraham had before he was circumcised.
For the promise to Abraham and his offspring that he would be heir of the world was not given through the law, but through the righteousness that comes by faith. For if those who live by the law are heirs, faith is useless and the promise is worthless, because the law brings wrath. And where there is no law, there is no transgression. Therefore the promise comes by faith, so that it may rest on grace and may be guaranteed to all Abraham's offspring, not only to those who are of the law, but also to those who are of the faith of Abraham. He is the father of us all, as it is written, I have made you a father of many nations. He is our father in the presence of God, in whom he believed, the God who gives life to the dead and calls into being what does not yet exist. Against all hope, Abraham in hope believed, and so became the father of many nations, just as he had been told. So shall your offspring be. Without weakening in his faith, he acknowledged the decrepitness of his body, since he was about 100 years old, and the lifelessness of Sarah's womb. Yet he did not waver through disbelief in the promise of God, but was strengthened in his faith and gave glory to God, being fully persuaded that God was able to do what he had promised. This is why it was credited to him as righteousness. In other words, it was credited to him, were written not only for Abraham, but also for us, to whom righteousness will be credited for us who believe in him who raised Jesus, our Lord, from the dead. He was delivered over to death for our trespasses and was raised to life for our justification.
Therefore, since we have been justified through faith, we have peace with God through our Lord Jesus Christ, through whom we have gained access by faith into this grace in which we stand, and we rejoice in the hope of the glory of God. Not only that, but we also rejoice in our
Very simple
suffering.
tonight. It's gonna be super simple. I'm not commenting. I'm not gonna stop. We're gonna let this stream just go. We're gonna be in this live chat going crazy. So please, in the chat real quick, green hearts in the chat if you can hear. Flood the chat with green hearts. Let's make this thing live. We in the chat just talking trash about Candace. We are not, I'm not gonna stop. It's like holding your breath, man. It's like holding your breath. We're gonna hold our breath for an hour and make it through, y'all. Let's do it. Let's do it. Back to the book of Romans. Let's go.
Because we know that suffering produces perseverance, character, and character, hope. And hope does not disappoint us because God has poured out his love into our hearts through the Holy Spirit whom he has given us. For at just the right time, while we were still powerless, Christ died for the ungodly. Very rarely will anyone die for a righteous man, though for a good man someone might possibly dare to die. But God proves his love for us in this: while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. Therefore, since we have now been justified by his blood, how much more shall we be saved from wrath through him? For if when we were enemies of God, we were reconciled to him through the death of his son, how much more, having been reconciled, shall we be saved through his life? Not only that, but we also rejoice in God through our Lord Jesus Christ, through whom we have now received reconciliation. Therefore, just as sin entered the world through one man, and death through sin, so also death was passed on to all men, because all sinned. For sin was in the world before the law was given, but sin is not taken into account when there is no law. Nevertheless, death reigned from Adam until Moses, even over those who did not sin in the way that Adam transgressed. He is a pattern of the ones who come. But the gift is not like the trespass, for if the many died by the trespass of the one man, how much more did God's grace and the gift that came by the grace of the one man, Jesus Christ, abound to the many? Again, the gift is not like the result of the one man's sin. The judgment that followed one sin brought condemnation, but the gift that followed many trespasses brought justification. For if by the trespass of the one man, death reigned through that one man, how much more will those who receive the abundance of grace and of the gift of righteousness reign in life through the one man, Jesus Christ? So then, just as
like an old man. Anyway, I know a lot of people today are discussing, obviously, celebrity blogger Perez Hilton this morning. Don't worry, we are not going to show you the video. I actually want to be honest with you, I haven't even watched the video because my social media guy alerted me to it last night. He said, don't watch it. And I said, okay. Then my husband said, do not watch it after he saw it. I can't even watch scary movies. I've shared that with you. I'm very spiritually sensitive to that stuff. I can hardly make it through an Erica Kirk interview. Speaking of which, in hilarious news, Piers Morgan interviewed one of her spiritual advisors, Victor Marx, the man that we interviewed. And Piers Morgan is very confused. This man who summons angels and demons into the room. Piers has sort of landed upon the same conclusion that Victor is bizarre. Keep going, Piers. You might appreciate that all of these godly, quote unquote, godly people who Erica surrounded her husband with are of a particular variety that feels anything but holy or biblical, despite the words that come out of their mouth, despite all of the pretenses. Anyway, we have a lot to cover today, so let's get into it. Welcome back to Candace.
Sorry about that. It looks like we got a technical difficulty. Once I know y'all are just chomping at the bit to hear what she's got to say. I know. All right, let's try again. Green hearts in the chat when you can hear.
And given the recurring themes that we've been talking about in the Charlie Kirk assassination story, we learned that Officer Bagley, while he was employed by the Utah County Sheriff's Office, so that was actually his last place of employment before he began working for UVU. He worked for Utah County Sheriff's Office. but specifically, he worked in the sex crimes detective unit. So I'm pointing that out because I have been continually underlining that theme across the board. Various decoys like George Zinn, arrested for child pornography. Seems like he was put up for this job of saying, I did it, I did it. The guy who jumped up and started that chant, USA, USA. He goes by David Sprague, but he actually changed his name. It used to be James Rawlinson. He confessed to me that his father got mixed up in crimes against children and some sex abuse crimes against children. I also had shared with you in the past, maybe you don't remember, that I strongly suspect that Mike Mitchell, who is very central to the story, the former undercover cop who was Tyler Robinson's Boy Scouts leader, who told him, they're gonna arrest you either way, and convinced him to sort of turn himself in or have the SWAT bang down your door. Well, as a reminder, we were able to find an undercover detective who was involved in Utah with Cyber Sex Crime Unit by that same name, Michael Mitchell, but we haven't been able to confirm with absolute certainty that it is the same Mike Mitchell. But I think it is, because we don't really know what he did for the police, and usually that means you're undercover. And if you're doing internet crimes, I'll tell you one thing, why this really matters, and we've had that spreadsheet for you, is because obviously when you are dealing with sex crimes over the internet, cyber sex crimes, you will find a hub of feds, and feds do turn would-be criminals into assets. You catch them touching the wrong link, and here are your choices. You can either do this for us, or you can spend the rest of your life with the whole world knowing you're a pedophile. These circumstances have happened in the past many times over. And so again, I'm entering that tidbit because it might be relevant down the line. Now, I had already been wondering aloud about whether some people were blackmailed into certain activity, and I'm going to continue to wonder aloud about that, give myself permission to think while it's still legal. I also really wanted to get together a little list. I will keep building on this. I love a list for...
Of course you do.
Just us to remind ourselves of everything that we were initially told about this case, the influencers that came out and told us they were overwhelmed with evidence that has thus far been proven false or entirely unverifiable. We were told, wait until the preliminary hearing. I was told that actually by Erica herself, saying, this is her lawyer, this is when we gather all the evidence. Then at the preliminary hearing, we have a chance to present that evidence and the public will know much more. Well, it's just important to pause and reflect and to recognize that from beginning up until this point, we have just been lied to. They have proven actually nothing. They continually call us the conspiracy theorists. They are the conspiracy theorists, actually. We are fully in the throes of trust the science of Tyler Robinson. Just trust that it's him, but we don't have to supply any proof. So here's just a little brief list of things that I'm putting together. And like I said, we will continue to grow this, but we were told that Tyler's father turned him in. I have disputed this from the very beginning. I was the first person to say that is not true. I had a source and it was solid that actually he was pressured into coming in and told that he had no other option or they were going to bang down his door. When we were told that, don't forget the Bill Ackman narrative in the background. Bill Ackman, this was such a prevalent narrative in the mainstream that Bill Ackman tweeted that he was going to award this brave father. Oh, could you imagine if you had to turn in your own son $1 million, which added to this myth and this lore of Tyler Robinson's father turning him in. And that has been determined to be a lie. I'm not saying Bill Ackman lied. He could have been responding to a lie. But what I'm saying is I believe Andrew Colbert admitted that Bill Ackman did not give him $1 million. And Matt Robinson, his father, did not turn him in. They just kind of are moving on from that point. It didn't happen. We were also told that there is a video of Tyler Robinson taking the shot in 4K by the influencers. That is a lie. I proved to you that was a lie. They're now moving the goalpost and pretending that they never said it. There is no video of any person taking the shot, actually. Doesn't exist. Major lie. Tyler Robinson, another thing that we were told, and or his lover at various times are transgendered. That's a lie. Tyler Robinson is not transgendered. I told you that very early on. His lover, Lance, is not transgendered. And the furry culture, it's very difficult to explain, but that is supposed to exist as an avatar of some game player or someone in game world that reminds you of yourself. And I am told by people in the game world that Luna is a very popular character because they're sort of like antisocial. And I don't know, they were explaining to me who Luna is, the very popular character in that world. And who's going to account for that lie? Who's going to come forward and admit that they just sort of made that up? I don't know. We were similarly told in that same vein, the reason why that lie was so crucial was that this was a politically motivated crime. Tyler Robinson, the whole text messages reflect some hate just can't be negotiated. I got to do this. I had to take my shot. Charlie Kirk is here. That's crucial. That's the motive. We were told that it was because of Charlie Kirk's stance on LGBTQ issues, least of the things that he is known for. Truly, least of the things that Charlie Kirk is known for. If this was like, Matt Walsh during What is a Woman documentary, that might make sense. But Charlie Kirk, like, no, that's not what people, when you think of Charlie Kirk, you don't think of transgendered issues. We know where he stands on it, but that's not his claim to fame. Then suddenly the boyfriend, Lance, testifies that he's never spoken to him about LGBTQ issues. So I guess for the first time, he spoke to him about it after he killed Charlie Kirk via text message. Again, it's a very serious lie that has now been debunked because it means the motive has evaporated. The political motive has evaporated. He said they didn't even speak about politics. He had never mentioned the name Charlie Kirk to him, ever. Where's their motive now? We were told that there is footage of Tyler Robinson assembling the rifle on the roof. That is a lie. There is no footage of Tyler Robinson assembling the rifle on the roof. Blake Neff tweeted this the other day. He's lying through his teeth. He is lying through that bald head, okay? Doesn't exist. Then he kind of tried to edit and say, well, we can deduce. We can deduce that somebody assembled a rifle on the roof? No, we can't deduce that. Is there footage, yes or no? The answer is no. It was a lie. We were told that there was clear footage of Tyler Robinson's car on campus. That is thus far unproven. It would remain a mystery as to if there was that footage, why they wouldn't have presented at the preliminary hearing. What we have been presented with is blurry footage of a car that resembles Tyler Robinson's car. He's not the only person in Utah or in the United States or in the world that drives that particular vehicle in that car, in that color. So that is thus far unproven, but we'll be open to maybe they just didn't want to present it at the preliminary hearing. We were told Tyler Robinson was suicidal. That is a lie. I told you that was a lie from the very beginning. He was not suicidal. In fact, he was so not suicidal that he agreed to turn himself in, or rather to walk in peaceably. You have no other choice. That's what they told him. He agreed to go in peaceably rather than subject himself to the possibility of an accidental death by SWAT team banging down his door. They just moved on from that. We were told that Tyler Robinson's gun was officially tied to the bullet fragment that was recovered in Charlie's autopsy. That's a lie. The ATF was very clear. That's why the influencer started pretending. They were kind of trying to shroud the ATF testimony. That's my belief of why they went so hard on the last day, because that ATF testimony was so crucial and very carefully explained that they gave a range. She gave a range of what these metal fragments, of which really only one of them could be tested, a range of what sort of weapons it could fit into. And in fact, it didn't cover a 30-06. It didn't cover a 30-06 if you pay attention to that testimony. She almost debunked the idea entirely, in my view, that this was tied to Tyler Robinson's gun whatsoever. We were told Tyler Robinson's gun had DNA all over it. And I'm going to call that a lie by severe omission, because every time they said this in the public, they refused to say, but 5 other sets of prints minimally were also found on the gun. And they refused to say that Tyler's are the most degraded. Tyler's prints are the most degraded of all the prints that were found on this gun. That is a severe lie by omission to continually say they found his prints on a gun and not admit that 5 other sets were found, of which one were owned by his father and the other by Lance. Lance Twiggs and Hunt. Why are Lance's fingerprints on this family heirloom? And I am going to count this next one as a lie by severe omission, that Terrell Farnsworth immediately turned over the footage to police. I'm going to call that a lie by severe omission because Terrell Farnsworth we watched him take out an SD card. And actually what the police were given was not an SD card. They were given a hard drive, right? A USB file. So why? When was that transferred? That feels relevant to me. You can give an SD card to the feds. You don't need to be like, well, let me get this onto a USB or a hard drive. No, this tells me that it is plausible that that footage was edited, zoomed in perhaps, as Nisi pointed to, and then given to the feds for some reason, because a zoomed in image would not show you what was happening on the ground beneath. I'm not sure. But these are a lot of very severe lies that they're now just kind of moving on from. What exactly, I guess this is my question, what exactly in the narrative thus far, which has been presented to us, to the public, what are we supposed to find convincing? Because I want you to remember that in order to secure a murder conviction, you have to move a jury beyond a reasonable doubt, to secure a murder conviction. So to our detractors, which there are many, I ask sincerely, name one piece of evidence that has been entered into the public domain that you feel demonstrates that Tyler Robinson did this beyond a reasonable doubt. Because as we were going through this as a team, we were like, all they're left with right now is a text message confession, right? That's really kind of it. These were taken, a text message confession, which the police took from Lance's phone. Mind you, Lance should be a suspect in this. His prints are everywhere. He had access to all of Tyler's belongings. He says his alibi is I was sleeping. Okay. He's being protected by the feds. Like I said, he seems like an asset. Maybe they found him online doing some weird stuff. And those messages were presented without any timestamps. We don't know why that is. And also it happens to be that when Lance's phone was photographed by the police, it was conveniently broken. Take a look here in the top left corner, right where we would be able to discern what time it was when the police took that. Their story is, he came in on the night of the 10th, or maybe it's the 11th, and we spoke to him. Well, it would be great if we could look at that time, but that he happened to break his phone, like stab it right in the corner where the time is. So we don't get to guess or know when the feds actually took photos of those messages. We also saw testimony in court that the police moved to use an Israeli tech firm to extract the messages. Celebrate, it's called, an Israeli forensic tech firm to extract those messages. Now, I don't know if it matters to them, but we all kind of think Israel killed Charlie Kirk, just based on the actions and the mood of the Israeli government leaders, Bibi Netanyahu, and their plethora of Zionist supporters throughout the United States. They're obsessed with lying about the Charlie Kirk case. They just have to lie about the Charlie Kirk case. They have to try to debunk everything immediately. It's giving us the vibe that they could be guilty. So yeah, we'd rather not trust an Israeli tech firm to extract messages that do not sound at all as though they were written by a native English speaker. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. It sounds to me like someone using Google Translate, right? There are little idiosyncrasies in language that I'll give you when I learned Spanish, okay? I remember like, okay, I know how to say to drink, beber, B-E-B-E-R, beber. But actually, they don't use beber ever. No, everywhere you go, they use tomar, which is like to take. They say toma, like you take. So if you say beber, like if I put that into Google Translate, I want to drink, it's going to give me beber. And if I go and I then present those as text messages, Spanish people are going to clock you in 4 seconds and say, this is not a native Spanish, this is not a native Spanish speaker at all. Beber, we don't say beber, but it means to drink. Yeah, but we don't say that. In Tyler Robinson's text messages, we, actual American English speakers, we don't say pooch and bad sniffer in casual language. I actually looked that up. Actually, like sniffer is Ukrainian. There's like a show called The Sniffer. Ukrainian show. It's totally crazy. We don't use that stuff in casual language. This is somebody who does not know how we speak. And it is, of course, entirely plausible that someone gained access to Tyler Robinson's iCloud, maybe someone like his boyfriend gave access to his iCloud, and someone sent text messages from a different location. All of that remains to be seen because don't forget, Tyler's legal team, despite reasonable protestations, were not granted their discovery requests leading up to the preliminary hearing, okay? They testified that they had not even been given access to their client's phone when they were requesting an extension. They were going, well, how are we doing this hearing? We don't have anything. We can't even vet anything that you're putting on the stand. You're just going to allow hearsay? Yeah, we're going to allow hearsay. That's what happened. Those text messages have not been vetted yet. Now, in addition to this, the public is noticing that the victim on this case, Erica Kirk, is inviting influencers into the courtroom. That doesn't make us think she's telling the truth, especially because the influencers are lying. They have lied repeatedly to the masses. They get caught and they just keep lying as if their lives and livelihood depend on it. On top of that, her organization, which she took over in her husband's stead, Turning Point USA, is contracting the services of and platforming people who are meant to lie about this investigation full-time. It's their full-time job to attack Candace. I don't know if you happen to catch this, but over on X right now, it's trending. A group of 92 influencers have been exposed, targeting me, exposed coordinating in a group chat. The group was brought together by an agent of Israel, no doubt, in the past, before Charlie was assassinated, that this person hosted a spaces on X and went on record admitting that they gather intel, they collaborate with Green Berets. They collaborated with a Daily Wire employee, Cassie Akiva, the Gaza Humanitarian Fund, then run by Johnny Moore, to create files on people for the purpose of doing Israel's PR bidding. At that time, it was about what's happening in Gaza. And they were going after someone who Tucker Carlson had on his show. So, of course, the common sense question is, why is someone who focuses on PR for Israel focused on gathering 91 other people to attack me full-time over the Charlie Kirk case, okay? I'll show you this. The group chat got exposed because a member of the group went rogue and was like, I'm done with this. This is no longer healthy for me. Here is what she said over 2 tweets. Shady Lady Katie wrote, coordinated efforts are coming from some of these people. Here are all of the names who were in this group chat. I'm sharing information, background checks, reporting accounts, whining and complaining all day about Candace Owens, and even sharing Candace's own home address in this group chat. However, I will say that not everyone here participated. Some just lurked. Anyway, I am out of here. X is a digital, unfruitful wasteland, and I have a real life and SHIT to do. Go live your lives and build something. And she exposed 92 members in this group chat, which has the name Protecting Mrs. Kirk. Protecting Mrs. Kirk. And now some of these names are not, we know this is their full, I blocked them because it's just it's obvious it's their full-time job to attack me. Milk Bar TV, No Soup for Knowles, Paramount Not So Tactical, Brie Dale, Fake Catholic, Insurrection Barbie, just block. It's not even worth my time. Like, it's just the most obvious operation in the world. Nice to see it. Nice to go through these, and you should go through these 92 absolute losers who are losing despite doing this. I don't coordinate. I'm not on any group chats with 92 operatives, 10 operatives, 6 operatives, 2 operatives. I don't do this. I work with my team. I look for information. I may, reach out, obviously, to people who are also care about this case. Baron Coleman, hey, did you see this video? Give him a call. Did you find this? Did you cover this topic? He'll tell me what he knows. No one's coordinating to take down Erica Kirk. We're just coordinating to figure out who killed Charlie Kirk. And for some reason, these people find it to be synonymous with taking down Erica Kirk. I wonder why that is. So that's the question. Why does it take 92 operatives online coordinating, sharing my personal information, utterly psychotic, okay? My home address. Why are they obsessed with the takedown of Candace Owens? Well, the answer is because they know that I know. They know that I know, okay? We got another bizarre request today, this time from the Daily Mail. Charlie Spearing, the one who worked on the Trust us, bro. Charlie definitely wanted Erica to take over the company because I watched the video, the author of that. the Aspen. I watched it so you don't have to, guy.
Hold on. I'm a little bit
He wrote
offended.
this to us today.
I'm
We
a
have
little bit
sources-
offended. Everybody that she called out was of the less melanated complexion. Why did she call out the black guy? Hey, man, I'm feeling some kind of way here. I'm a little bit perturbed about that. Why didn't she call out the black man? Why am I being oppressed? Why am I being discriminated against? Y'all, that makes me sad. How's she gonna discriminate against the black man? That's messed up, man. That's messed up. I can't even win here. Dog, man, I can't even win here. I'm getting oppressed, man. I'm oppressed. Y'all put oppressed in the chat. Good gracious alive. Why is she oppressing the black man?
The state murdered Charlie
I'm
Kirk.
feeling some kind of way, man.
That clearly it must have had
Is she still
Trump's
talking?
permission
What's she
because he's doing nothing to try to get to the bottom of what happened to his dear friend who helped to get him
Why are you
elected
oppressing
twice.
me?
And we sense Israel's involvement. That's what's happened. There's no foreign operatives.
Why are
They're
you
working
oppressing
on
the
this case.
brothers?
So yeah, the real
Being
issue is that
discriminated
they
against.
know that I know. They're desperate now, growing increasingly desperate and manic. We want FBI raids, anything. But I'm sorry, guys. It's all inevitable. Okay? It is inevitable. You are figuratively walking a plank. Charlie was betrayed. You can't spin that. Speaking of which, I have a question for Blakey Neff. Public challenge. Just one question, Blake. Let's see if you can remember. Oh, so transparent one. You, Danny Phillip, Mikey McCoy, and Nate Walker all walked into Timpanogos Hospital together. My question for you is simple. Did you all travel there together? Did all four of you arrive at Timpanogos Hospital in the same car? Yes or no? I'm asking for a reason. Another question, and that's regarding Nate Walker, because like, what a new thing, like to be just a new assistant, the one who supplied Charlie Kirk with that Freedom t-shirt. The internet has taken notice, and we would appreciate a clarification on his movements before the explosive goes off, because he's a young assistant, and at around 12:15, he has his bag, as assistants do. I've been many of these events, and he's been speaking with Dan Flood, and this is around 12:15. I'm going to show you that. You can see he's wearing a bright blue shirt in the corner there. That's him talking. You could just catch him with his bag that's pointing. And then what happens after that, Dan's obviously talking into his shirt. Then Nate, with, I guess we're less than T-10 before the explosive goes off, suddenly he's upstairs when that happens. This is him immediately following the explosive, around 12:25. So about, I guess, a minute and 45 seconds afterward. Here he is up near the Flag of Halls walkway, putting on sunglasses, and he doesn't have his bag. Here he comes. And then we find him 2 minutes beyond that walking downstairs. So people have questions, and I think it's a pretty fair thing. You know, the public cares about Charlie. Why did he go upstairs? What was, maybe he went up there. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. Dan Flood asked him to go up there to check on something. I don't know. We don't need to make up a narrative. We don't need to speculate. But we are asking for a specific reason. Anyway, I will leave that at that. I want to get into this Perez Hilton story. I guess, you know what we should probably do? I didn't realize that I've already been going here for 30 minutes. Let's take a quick break, and then let's cover Perez Hilton. All right, you guys, I want to pass along a heartfelt
I
thank
fully
you for my
expect this
friends over
woman
at
to eventually
Preborn.
roll up and say that it's the Infinity Stones. I fully expect her to say she's using the Infinity Gauntlet to figure out, divine what has happened. This woman is absolutely crazy, y'all. I don't care what you say, man. Candace Owens loves Jewish Israel Zionists more than they love anybody. She loves them more than anybody. She is the absolute biggest Zionist loving person on the planet. And you know I'm right. You know I'm right. You know I'm telling the truth. That woman loves Zion. She loves Zion more than the Bible. She loves Zion. She about Zion. She loves them. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. You know I'm not, you can't, because you know I'm telling the truth. That woman loves Zion. And not in the biblical way. She loves them and she worships them. That's crazy work, y'all. That's absolutely crazy work. Y'all, shout out to the best live channel on the internet. We just watching. I'm not stopping. We just trying to get through it. We trying to make it through. Shout out to Body Cam. Body Cam got the power. Shout out to Body Cam, got the power. Dude, use that power wisely, man. With great responsibility comes power. Wait, I said it backwards. With great power comes responsibility. Shout out for sure, y'all. Thank y'all so much, everybody who's jumped in to the best live channel on the internet. We just having fun tonight. We hadn't done one of these in a long time, thank the Lord. I can tell my stress levels have gone down, but I just want y'all to jump in and we just gonna have a good time. We just making fun. Jump into the best live chat on the internet, the most electrifying comment section. Get your words out, say what you gotta say. Join our poll. Got a poll question right here. If I can find it, because I can't see it. Right here. All right, I said, what do you think the end of the Candace saga will be? Number 1, so you'll type which number. Number 1, she'll repent and turn to Christ. Number 2, she'll keep on doing what she's doing. Number 3, she'll be sued 10 times. And number 4, she'll have her breakdown. What do you got? 1, 2, 3, or 4? Put it in the chat and it'll populate on the question on the survey. So shout out to y'all. Thank you so much to the moderators. What are the chances she blames Israel? Well, she already done that. She already said, she's already speculated that there was a ritual. She's already speculated that. That's not even new. She's gonna keep on doing what she's doing. Yeah, man. Yeah. What's going on to everybody? Thank you so much, everybody. And then once you put your answer in there, y'all go ahead, man, and then put oppressed, man. How did I get oppressed, man? I'm part of the 92. I'm a part of the 92 ops. Why am I not? Why did she oppress the black man? But she called out everybody who was white, but she didn't call out the black man. I'm feeling some kind of way, y'all. Let's go.
Removed from the internet,
Right,
of course.
best live chat. Green hearts in chat with you
various
here.
pockets, but at least there is some sort of an honest attempt to remove the video across social media. But Perez Hilton, I'm going to tell you a little bit about him for my international listeners, because I obviously do not expect that he made it across the pond. So he is a gay celebrity blogger who really came up in the early 2000s. You could actually argue that he sort of pioneered celebrity blogging in the time and the land before social media. He did it in a way, however, that I should make clear was very vicious and very mean, right? He would cover celebrities throughout their addictions, eating disorders, their relationships, if they were, struggling with anorexia, if they were in rehab, if they were begging for privacy. There was like no place that he wouldn't go. There was nothing he would not publish onto his blog. And he would also include these gratuitous illustrations of these celebrities to suggest, as an example, that they were addicted to cocaine, like a little white scribble beneath their nose, so to speak, to imply that these people were on drugs. It was incredibly invasive to many celebrities who were many of them extremely young at the time of his publications, and dealing with their own insecurities, obviously being in the public eye. They would eventually speak out about how his targeting and bullying contributed to their self-hatred or their self-harm. And to be clear, I want to really stress, he was vicious. He would call people ugly, fat, give them nicknames, and they would sort of, I think a lot of them were like permanently damaged from this. One of them being Khloe Kardashian, who has changed her face many times. He really targeted her and referred to her as a transvestite over and over again. Also, there was this massive scandal. To give you an idea of who he was, he posted an upskirt photo of Miley Cyrus, who was then just 17 years old, right? That's the kind of stuff that he would do. And when he was interviewed about it, he would just be like, oh, it's not my fault that, like, whatever, this is what the public is interested in. And these celebrities know what they're doing. She's 17 years old. Like, this is not a person that you should be publishing. Now, of course, because it was like sort of the dawn of this, and people maybe always wondered how celebrities lived and wanted to know about these celebrities, it just completely launched him. It actually gave him so much power in Hollywood. Celebrities actually sought his friendship. So you can see he's hanging out with A-listers because he just wanted to be on his good side. It was almost like a form of social blackmail in a way, because you didn't want to end up with him tracking you. So that's like Lady Gaga. I mean, he was hosting wild parties with A-list celebrities because people basically wanted to end up on his good list. That's kind of the Perez Hilton phenomena in a nutshell. Now, in 2010, he did a total rebrand, and he offered this public apology saying that he wanted to change his trajectory, wanted to change his ways, no longer play a part in the industry of bullying that he really built. And he tried to flip his brand by appearing on Ellen DeGeneres' talk show. And here is what he said.
So when you asked to be here, I got to say a lot of people have said it's not a good idea and advised me against it and said, why would you want to do that? I believe in giving people second chances. And you said you want to change, and a lot of people don't believe you. But if you say you want to change and you want to, I think it takes a big person to look at themselves and say, I've done wrong and I want to change. So I want to listen to what you have to say.
Yeah, you know, over the last week and a half, 2 weeks, I've been doing everything I can to bring awareness to the issue of the teen suicides and gay bullying. And in doing so, a lot of people have called me a hypocrite and a bully myself, and a big one. And that's not how I want to be perceived, and that's not what I want to put out there into the world. And it was a big wake-up call that so many people saw me that way. So, you know, from now on, I really want to be part of the solution and not part of the problem. I want to be the change that I want to see in others. So I'm going to do things differently on my website than I have in the past. I'm not going to call people nasty nicknames. I'm not going to go the mean route. I'm going to force myself to try and be funnier or smarter or just do things differently, not doodle inappropriate things, not out people, which I have done all of those things in the past.
That's right. So, yeah, he had a lot of power in Hollywood. Some people were not buying this rebrand, especially people who were impacted by the stuff that he did. Khloe Kardashian being one of them. She came out and was like, this is nice, but no, like you really damaged me. Now, I should mention here, the reason why some people weren't buying this was because at the same time of his attempted rebrand came the dawn of social media. So his relevancy was sort of naturally fading. The paparazzi culture of the 2000s, he benefited from that tremendously. It changed with smartphones, right? Everyone suddenly became the paparazzi. This wasn't like unique capture, and celebrity culture transformed. So this was kind of like the Paris Hilton, Nicole Richie phase that he enjoyed the boom of, and then that sort of went away. I'm just telling you guys that on background because, like I said, I'm sure he didn't make his way across the pond. People don't know who this guy is or why he's trending. But he really did build an empire of sleaze. And he embraced it until he didn't. Now, on the personal side of things, you should know that Perez, as a gay single man in the new social media era, made this decision also to have children via surrogacy. He's single. This is becoming an increasingly controversial topic. Gay men using surrogacy, not having another parent in their lives. He chose to have 3 children, one in 2013, one in 2015, and one in 2017. 1 boy and 2 girls. So he is a single father, which is important as we get into what happened last night. Okay. These children do not have another parent is what I'm stressing to you. So over recent months, it's been clear that he is going through something. Like, I mean, on March 23rd, he posted videos of himself from a hospital bed and said he almost died from severe sepsis and infections. He claimed that it started with the flu, but he didn't take his medications with food like he was supposed to. So he then developed an ulcer that eventually perforated. He was hospitalized for 3 weeks and had emergency surgery. And then he said that because he was so close to death, he found God. And then he started sort of hawking these Christian t-shirts online. And, people either accepted that or thought that this was a new grift, one or the other. Now, yesterday what happened, and I made, like I said, Skylar watched this video last night, so I didn't have to. My husband watched this video, so I didn't have to. I have sensitive eyes and ears. But in the video, which ran live on TikTok, Perez Hilton was fully naked, drenched in blood, with multiple cuts all over his body, and he was cutting himself. He can be seen making cuts with a knife all over his body. and he's completely out of it. He's on video and he's saying things like, I am doing this for my children. He's looking out of the window, recognizing that the police are here, saying, shoot me, mother foes, mother F words, you know what I'm trying to say there. And what happened was the update came from NBC. Obviously, they took him gratefully, peaceably, and they hospitalized him after this live stream. He was doing this on a live stream on TikTok, I should mention. And the police said that they responded to his Miami area home of the celebrity blogger and podcaster Perez Hilton after they received reports that he engaged in self-harm in a live streamed video Tuesday night. A spokesperson for the Miami-Dade Sheriff's Office said in an email that the deputies responded to reports of someone who was live streaming acts of self-harm on social media. In a follow-up statement, the sheriff's office said that the person was safely recovered and taken by Miami-Dade Fire Rescue to a local hospital where he was receiving medical attention. It said that deputies spoke to the family members at the scene who confirmed the person had been alone inside the residence, so his kids were not there. The video, which was streamed on TikTok before the platform pulled it, appeared to show Hilton covered in blood with visible cuts, holding a knife. And in the video, viewers pleaded with him and asked for his phone number so that they could alert authorities. And they note that he's a single father with 3 children born via surrogacy, and he moved back to Miami after living in Las Vegas for 3.5 years. Now, I want to share my personal opinion on this. I think Paris Hilton is on drugs. I do. It's an opinion, not a fact, obviously. But as soon as I heard about this, as soon as I heard about the sepsis thing, there was just something about it that felt to me like he is in the throes of a drug addiction. And obviously there is a deeper irony to that, given how he built his career. But there's been just a lot of changes in his life, moving back into his mother's house, I believe is accurate. He's living with his mother's raising his kids. That indicates to me that he's on some sort of a spiral, and not something to be made fun of. I don't think that's funny. That's just my genuine opinion, is that you're looking at somebody who has demons, and that he could have been in some sort of a drug-induced psychosis when this went on. He was also saying how he doesn't like himself. And, a lot of that is because Hollywood in general. The broader picture here is that we now have confronted the reality that sort of glamour and glitter of what we thought Hollywood was has fallen. We don't have the same opinion as we had about celebrities back in the early 2000s. There's something about them that they felt so shiny. And now we realize that these people are crazed, dealing with their own issues, many of them drug addicts, many of them involved in pedophilia. I'm not talking about Perez Hilton. I'm talking about what we've learned about Hollywood, and many of them controlled by agents. We've seen now, so many of them try to speak out. We saw what happened to Britney Spears. We saw what happened to Kanye West. We saw what happened to Michael Jackson. And of course, just what I've learned, how Hollywood was set up. Truly, it was meant to be a cult. It's meant to be demonic. It was meant to draw people away from the church and into the cathedrals of theater. These people are performers, and their idea is to attract the masses to presentations about whether it's history. You watch a movie, you think it's real. The whole idea is that Hollywood was meant to drive us into it almost like it was psychoanalytical, right? They created Hollywood because they wanted to control what we think. It was meant to be a brainwashing technique, so to speak, when you get into Sigmund Freud and you get into PR and propaganda. That's what Hollywood is. At its core, it's propaganda, and they wanted us to really sort of have this form of pagan belief in these celebrities as something to be worshipped. And it worked. It worked. I would say in my younger years, I was just, oh my gosh, Christina Aguilera. Oh my gosh, these people are amazing. I would do anything to meet Christina Aguilera. That was supposed to be the magic trick. And I think that now we have seen that illusion fade, and the fall, so to speak, or the current fall of Perez Hilton sort of represents that moment. But here's what I want to warn about that. When something falls, and I'm referring to Hollywood more broadly, not specifically Perez Hilton, something has to rise to take its place. And I sense so deeply that same occult worship, that same shiny, new, fake veneer drawing the youth in is what we are watching right now with the rise of this fake Christian grift that is happening. It is exactly what it fits like. It's Hollywood all over again, but this time it's going to be biblical. The same players are involved. People that were in reality TV are now pretending that they can't get a sentence out without referring to the Lord. It is so much for me what I see happening with Turning Point USA. Like, this is it. This is supposed to be the new Hollywood. This is the plan. They're supposed to get your children. They want to be inside of the high schools, and you're supposed to look the other way and go, well, this isn't bad. Like, maybe your parents were okay with you watching TRL when you got home, whatever. If this is just culture, now they're saying this isn't culture. This is actually God. And that's really scary. It's the same paganism
Thank you there,
that is
Mike.
found.
Appreciate you, brother.
And they
Thank
try
you
to
so much
protect
for
it and
that.
say, you can't question it now because we are giving it a new veneer. And this veneer is that it's godly.
Y'all tell Mike.
And we
Thank
know
you, Mike.
scripture. And we're not going to address the fact that at, Turning Point USA events, they are having gay orgies, and that this person is cheating on this person is sleeping with this person, an unbelievable amount of gay men that work at Turning Point USA, that they are working behind the scenes with the same PR agents, the same vicious crisis PR firms that employed Hollywood is now employing these groups like Turning Point USA, is now employing these influencers that are targeting your children. That is something that you have to pay attention to. Hollywood is falling and something else is rising to take its place. And in my honest opinion, it's more sadistic because it is targeting people through faith. And I just wanted to say that when I watched this, it's like a new dawn, a new chapter. I do wish, obviously, Perez Hilton, I hope he gets better. I hope he truly finds God and that he gets over whatever it is. And the first way that you're going to get over any spiritual demon that you're dealing with, that's why I do think this is a form of possession, is to be radically honest in your life. Like, you need to be radically honest with what it is that you're going through. And I don't think he is being honest with what it is that he's going through. And beyond anything else, pray for his children. It is in a very unfortunate situation. I don't know that I would live in Miami if this is what I was living with or going through. And yeah, I just wanted to make people aware of that. Hollywood is falling, but the occult is not going away. A perfect segue, by the way, into Victor Marx, one of Erica's spiritual advisors. We all get the ick. We all know something's wrong. It's like we listen to Frank Turk. We just go, this doesn't feel godly, but you keep telling me it is. Well, Piers Morgan interviewed Victor Marx and tweeted that it was one of the most bizarre interviews of his career. Yeah. Well, what's funny about this is Piers Morgan has been hosting people attacking me, as he always does, saying I'm wrong. Erica's the widow. He always accepts the slop up in the beginning, and then a year on, he admits that I was right. And so watching him react to Victor Marx, it's like, this is the door, Piers. This is what we're saying. TPUS faith is something else. What Erica brought in around Charlie is something else. And we noticed. And I want to show you this clip of Piers Morgan questioning Victor Marx on, just some details about his childhood that he also shared with us on this show. Take a listen.
I mean, if you're 3 years old, though, how are you cutting a cat's head off? That requires a strength, which I've got 3 sons. None of them would have had the strength at 3 years old or the dexterity to cut a cat's head off. How have you done that? That's what people are finding a little bit suspicious.
I understand if you put your hand around your son's hand on the knife of a dead cat, could you not cut the head off of it?
Mm.
It wasn't me.
I would say with great difficulty.
Have you?
I haven't done it, no. This leads me to probably the most contentious story, which is that when you were 7, the same abusive stepfather forced you to kill a man. Now, local law enforcement and sheriffs in the Mississippi area where this event apparently took place have said there are no records, police reports, or unsolved homicides matching your account from that time period. So just to be clear, what exactly do you say happened here? Who was the man? How did you kill him?
Well, I didn't murder anyone because I was a 7-year-old who was forced to shoot a person. My stepfather, again, holding my hand around a pistol to a man who was handcuffed and on his knees, put his finger over the trigger and pushed it until the man was shot. I don't know who he was. Best I can remember, he looked like a homeless fella.
So you've no idea where this happened or who the person was. Well, you can see why people might be saying, come on, Victor, this really happened? Let me put it to you a different scenario, which is, and I don't want you to be offended by this, I'm just putting it to you because I know it's something that could be a phenomenon, where people, you said that these revelations have come out very later in your life. A lot of people, when they've suffered abuse or trauma, whatever it may be, their mind can play games with them. It can, persuade them. And I'm not saying this has happened, but many people find some of these claims outlandish, that perhaps your mind is playing games and that these incidents didn't actually happen, but that because of your abuse, you have persuaded yourself that they may have done. Is that a possibility?
Well, I studied, and the answer is it's possible. I mean, I studied false memories and had 123 visits to a trauma specialist. This is nothing that I wanted to go back to, but it's something that was still affecting my life. And, we live in a very evil world.
Yeah, it's possible he made everything up. I'm glad he got to that point. It's definitely possible he made everything up. And yeah, like I said, Pierce, keep going, because we've done a lot of work on this, and he's not the only one that maybe has false memories. Everything about Erica's past, you start looking into it and you're just falling through a dark hole. Everything she presented herself to be to Charlie and you just want us to let it go. This is who she was bringing around. This is the first person who we got Erica home, greeted her in Charlie's apartment, crying, sharing across Instagram. You're looking at Turning Point USA Faith, and they want access to children. They're all wacky. They're all crazy pastors. You got Frank Turek signaling that I should be struck down, using the Bible, the good Bible, of course, to do it. Yeah, keep going, Pierce. I think eventually you will start to realize why people have a lot of questions about the faith push that Erica brought to Charlie through Turning Point USA. Anyway, we are going to take a brief break, and we will be right back. All right, you guys, have you ever felt like you are searching for real spiritual truth, but you're not sure who to trust anymore?
So her and Piers don't have a good working relationship. Not a bit. I'm sorry. I don't believe in your Christ is King until you actually show some Christ-like behavior. Sorry about that. Call me crazy. What do we have? Shout out to the best live channel on the internet. Thank you so much, everybody, for hopping in. We're not stopping. We're just in the chat, having fun, talking it up, yucking it up. I do want to say something like, this organization is called the Duramus Bible People, and they are actually promoting their content on Candace's show. That should tell you everything about those people. Right there. Right there. A quote unquote Bible people that are promoting their content on Candace's channel. That should tell you everything you need. You shouldn't need anything else. There's nothing else you need. No, faith has never been good to Candace. A person of faith has never been good to Candace. They've always been problematic. She has a degree in insanity. That's good. You know what? She double majored in that joint. Big screen, but no Jay Witt. Because I'm being oppressed, man. She didn't even call me out. She called Paramount. She called everybody else out. I didn't get a shout out. I felt some kind of way about that. I did feel some kind of way. So I'm actually just kind of like trying to get over that. I feel some kind of way about that. What's going on? But shout out for sure, man. This is truly a nothing show. She's talking about 100% nothing. Just pure foolishness. Nothing. All right, she's back over here. Let's go. Finish up. We're going to get done, y'all. We're going to finish this up.
Turning Point USA in a nutshell. They're just not interested in
eager to
exploring
solve
any other leads.
Why do you think
They
we're
can't
solving the
articulate
crime?
why they think
That's
Tyler
the crazy
Robinson did
part.
it, and they keep accusing us of being the people that are going off of vibes when actually they are the conspiracy theorists. They are going off of vibes. You can't just look at a blurry image and be like, "That's Tyler Robinson." That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. You have to show some evidence of something, make something make sense. And yeah, like I said, using influencers to lie to the public is actually just increasing the amount of people who generally find you and your behavior to be suspicious. It's like it's having the opposite desired effect. So maybe a time to switch game plans there. Second comment, this person writes, Blake Neff's anger single-handedly makes the entire TPUSA look completely guilty. Yeah, it's crazy that they keep allowing him to have a platform.
I'm pretty
I don't
certain
see what
of
the
it.
upside of that
I'll double
is.
check.
Like, was that promised to him that he was going to take over Charlie Kirk's show or something? I just don't get it. It's so abysmal. It like hurts them, and you wonder who is
She's talking
doing
about
their
the
PR
legion
'cause
that's
it is
in her.
just so
She's talking about
misguided,
legion.
and it just
Her
catalyzes
preferred pronouns are
like their descent into
demonic.
chaos. Like, it doesn't make any sense to the public what they're doing, why they're doing it, or why they think
That's kinda
that
funny. I
by
gotta write that
spending
down.
enough money or hosting these people, they're going to be able to convince people not to believe their own eyes and their own ears. I also want to offer an update. Yesterday, when I was talking about the burial, I was a bit uneducated when I said that I believed that you were not allowed to be cremated as a Catholic. Somebody sent me an email and reminded me, or actually informed me, that actually under Novus Ordo, so that is sort of the 60s update.
Oh, there's a lot of projection going
actually,
on tonight, brother.
yes,
Lots of
there
it.
is a document which discusses, and beginning in the 60s, I think in 1963, you are allowed to be cremated under certain circumstances.
Holy
and so
cow,
the
what is
person
all
links
that?
that. So I want to issue that correction and also
No, she's
plead
not trying to
ignorance
do
because
talk
I
about
told
the
you guys
doctrine of
that when I was
faith.
baptized Catholic.
What is she talking about?
It was done in the traditional Latin rites. My
What?
priest is everything is Latin rites, Latin rites. It is not. I attend Latin mass. I don't know enough about Novus Ordo, is what I would say. And so I always want to correct when I get something wrong. And that was, yeah, you were correct on that. I looked that up, and sorry.
So wait, you've been sitting here talking about the Christian faith, and you just admit right here in 4K that you don't know much about it, but you can sit there and finger wag at Allie Beth or Tracy Martin, Erica Kirk. You can tell them that they're fake. You can tell Dana Lash that she's a fake Christian. Frank Turk, he's a fake Christian, but you don't even understand what your preacher is talking about on Sunday. Please miss me. Hold up. Somebody please tell me I did not hear that woman say that. She doesn't even know what her preacher is talking about. But she can sit there and say that we're wrong. We're fake Christians. We're not biblical based. But ma'am, you don't even know what your preacher's talking about. He could be reading a McDonald's menu to you in Latin and you sitting there sounding like a seal clapping. Lord have mercy. Please take the wheel, Jesus. Take the wheel. Take the wheel, Jesus. Take the wheel, Jesus. Take the wheel, Jesus.
That's why I don't speak too much on Catholic affairs because I'm still learning, and I would be the most uneducated about Novus Ordo. So there's that.
You're the most educated.
Comment
uneducated
from
about everything.
today's episode. True Detective writes, after Charlie Kirk's murder, I watched a video of him saying that he wants to be remembered for the courage of his faith. This led me to enroll in OCIA and be baptized in the Roman Catholic Church this past Easter. His physical death inspired a spiritual awakening. Keep fighting, Candace. It is honestly tremendous to consider that the push after Charlie died was so evangelical that they were angry and nasty and bitter towards Catholics. Like, you couldn't even just be like, oh, my last conversation with Charlie, I was like, take a step, become Catholic. And they were like, influencers. And yet, it, again, had the opposite desired effect. The Catholic Church grew so much after Charlie's assassination. And obviously, I'm sure you've seen this, but like the Southern Baptist Convention, the numbers have been way down and going down every year. And I think it's partially, in part, due, and this doesn't mean that every evangelical church is like this, but we've seen too many in the public eye using Charlie Kirk's name that appear to be completely and utterly fraudulent. People
I don't know, operational CIA, I don't know.
On a stage and say, I'm his pastor, or I was his pastor, and they just come across like complete sleazeballs that are actually not dedicated to faith, not dedicated to anything other than making
She sounds like she's talking in Latin.
So it is interesting to consider that, and also welcome home, as Catholics say. Kyle, it is just who I am, writes, so much self-Zionist in here right now. It's so hilarious that they are spending so much money to get accounts to say such brainless beef. They can't actually think it's doing anything, right? I don't think they realize we've hit critical mass and we know that they're doing it. So it doesn't work. It just doesn't work. I feel like it's a waste of so much energy. Like, they could just be doing something else, but they have to do this. It's terrifying, though, that they're just sharing my address in private chats.
Nobody's doing that. You lie.
They are deranged and obsessed in a way that feels dangerous. And we knew when that was all happening, when they were publishing my kids' cars and stuff, and it was meant to scare me, and it is scary. It definitely is scary as a parent, obviously, that they just have no boundaries, and that I have no interest in publishing Erica's address. Like, why would I want to?
The lies you tell,
people being like, this is where Erica lives.
The lies that you tell.
What is it about, actually? Just respond
it's
to the
about
questions
you
that are being asked of
lying.
you.
Why are you
Like
lying?
I said, nobody is trying
Stop
to take down
lying.
Erica Kirk. We just want to figure out who
You're
killed
just
Charlie
lying,
Kirk.
trying to get friends. Just
And
stop.
for some reason,
Just stop.
those two
Let it go.
concepts for you are
Let it go.
synonymous. Finding out who killed Charlie Kirk is akin to taking down Erica Kirk. Why is that? Why is that? That's what we're getting from you. Ben the Beast writes, huge fan of yours and Andrew Tate. I love the interview that you did with him. What are your thoughts on his most recent arrest? In my opinion, it's another Matrix attack. Keep up the amazing work. So I had gotten very, like, whenever I comment on things, I always want to take the time to read files and understand what's happening and offer my, like, you know, I guess non-legal perspective. Like, I'm definitely not a legal professional, but I do feel like I understand legal documents. And I was very much involved in reading through his Romanian documents when the charges were against him. And I said, this case is going to fall apart. And people came at me and were like, how could you? And then the case fell apart. I'd never seen such clear evidence that the girl, there were actual literal text messages in WhatsApp of her describing what she was doing and trying to get a free ride to Paris or London. And so I gave my opinion on that because I felt like my opinion was educated. I have not had time, given everything that's going on, to look into the UK case.
Yep,
I always felt like Romania was kind of holding him because the UK wanted them. And so I've just been, the only thing I know right now are the headlines, which is like, this is a case from just like Russell Brand. It's like a long time ago. I need to go through the documents, and I am intending to do that and to give my opinion on what's actually happening in the UK. Obviously, it is utter madness that Andrew and Tristan Tate are in solitary confinement, and we are living in a time where he got taken in Florida, the home of Jeffrey Epstein, and Jeffrey Epstein just lived the greatest life there. Nobody that is a part of the Epstein network has been taken down. In fact, they have been covered up and have been protected by this administration. And so my mind just goes to just that understanding immediately that if any government was actually committed to taking down traffickers, the entire Epstein list and the people who were benefited and had relationships with Epstein and went onto that island would be exposed. And yet they are in power. So there's that. But I do intend to get into exactly the case and to explain to the public what's going on with that. Tony Hill writes, hi, Candace, congratulations on the new baby. I'm always so happy for you every time, except I know that the time will come where you have to take a break from the show to welcome the baby as I sit with Candace withdrawals, LOL. Thank you for showing us true strength. We love you. Yes, maternity leave always comes with the news of the new baby. And I do miss you guys. And it's going to come around so quickly. And then I'll be gone, but then I'll be back. So there's that. And we'll have time to do a lot of research, which I can't wait for. That's why we take off every 6th or 7th week, whatever it is we do here, so that we can research because there's a lot of information and a lot of stuff that's coming out. And of course, they're going to be announcing soon, I guess September, September 5th, Ashley, that they're supposed to be saying whether or not they're going to go through with the Tyler Robinson trial. September 1st? Okay. Yeah, so less than a month. And that's going to open a whole new can of worms. Like I said, I'm hoping it goes through. I want to see this thing through and see what this looks like and how they lie and how deep this is. So there's that. I certainly don't think Tyler Robinson killed Charlie Kirk on a rooftop and acted alone. Olympia writes, sounds like Perez had a psychotic break. It's very sad, but honestly, when you live a life like that, you invite demonic activity into your world.
She's
in my
reading
opinion.
a lot
I agree.
of comments.
I agree.
This is
All
very
that
interesting how
glitters
long
is
this
not
segment
gold,
is.
and he's now he's a later phase in his life. He's understanding that his relationships were not real. What he did for a living really was not real, and I think he's kind of floundering. He doesn't know who he is or what his identity is outside of that early fame that he enjoyed. And that is why it is so important to build a life of substance, a life with family, a life with friends that are not pursuing the public eye. Like when we laughed, I remember that guy, Adam, on PBD was like, where are Candace's famous friends? Like, what a bizarre thing to say.
It wasn't what
does
he
that
said,
mean?
though.
That's pursue real things in your life, things that are filling.
She
and
didn't say her famous
yeah,
friends.
you will be fulfilled. There's that. And have faith. That is I really hope for him that he finds true faith. I think he's kind of in the wilderness right now. Lola Wild writes, I love you, Candace. Let's give him grace. What if he was doing it for his kids because they were getting payback through a humiliation ritual or sacrifice one of his kids? Maybe leaving the Crowley Hollyweird cult. Pray for the kids. Absolutely pray for the kids. And I'm giving him grace. I don't have anything bad to say about Perez Hilton. He's never done anything to me that I know of. Maybe he has. maybe there was actually an article or two that someone told me about. It's not relevant to me and what I'm doing here. I just think that there is a broader conversation that needs to happen about what this symbolizes. And yes, there are elements of this that are demonic. And yes, you should pray for everybody, even your enemies, when they are dealing with a spiritual possession. I'm just saying that we are watching, and we have been watching, the collapse of Hollywood. He signifies that moment in a way, and beware of where that's reemerging, because it's the fake faith grift. I think we all see that exact same thing with a Bible bend, which is, to me, even more deeply demonic, to be honest. Okay. I think I answered everything. Oh, Damn It writes, to all of her detractors, I must say there is a beautiful soul glowing within Candace Owens. There is a beautiful soul growing, I should say, within. I just love my kids. They're so great. And I just have tons of kids, guys. I just should say that. They just make you laugh. They're so funny. They're especially at this age where they don't know anything, but they think they know everything. And just the things that they say are just watching the way their brains work. Every single day, without fail, there's just a moment where I am just laughing so hard at something that one of my children has said. And it is important to give yourself that perspective too, dealing with little people problems. It just makes me happy every day. I think that's the reason why I'm happy, is because I have kids and they add joy to my life, and I have a full family life. Anyway, if you would like to support the show, you know what to do. Go to CandaceOwens.com, buy some merch, especially now that we've learned about this group chat. I think it's appropriate for you to buy Stop Anti-Candacism. This is obviously a league that we are fighting. It's never been worse. The anti-Candacism that is going on, the coordination.
Snatch the wheel, Lord. Take the wheel. Please, Lord. Let all of this stuff go to naught. Let it all go to a dumpster, Lord. May nobody buy any of it. None of it. Nothing. Not a bit. Lord, please. Just take it away. Just get rid of it, please. I'm still feeling some kind of way that she disenfranchised a black man. I'm still feeling that way.
I love you guys. We will see you.
This is a
tomorrow.
long segment. Why is this segment so long? Lord have mercy. Take the wheel. Ooh. Y'all, what did y'all do to me? Y'all over there in that the shady spy training camp over there telling me we need to do a watch party. Oh my gosh, what did y'all do to me? Lord have mercy. At least drop some green hearts in the chat. At least drop some green hearts, something. Goodness, that was painful. Oh, I don't miss that at all. What did she talk about today? I gotta go over to Cinema Shogun, man. Where's Cinema Shogun? I need to check him out. I need to see what he wrote, because I have no idea what we just heard. What was that? See, the bad thing is that she's painted, somebody said it earlier, she's painted herself into a box. She really can't just talk about any topic. It has to be something that she can somehow or another twist and spin into this Charlie Kirk anti-Israel narrative. She couldn't just talk about, this is a really sad story about Perez Hilton. She can't just talk about it and just kind of give commentary about it. She has to, it has to be gossip that all turns back into this triple phonetic pretzel that she's concocted for the last 10 months, going on 11 months, which is crazy. That's craziness, y'all. Ooh. She admitted to having, right, an Adderall addiction in the past. Yeah, I totally believe it. He didn't act like she cared about Perez. She don't care about Perez. She doesn't. No, that phonetic pretzel is serious, y'all. But thank y'all so much, everybody. This was a lot of fun. It's been a while though. We will not be back here. This is probably our once a month. That was our one time this month, y'all. We've already exhausted our goodwill for one time a month to go over there to the candy land, because we are not doing that no more. Oh my gosh, that was craziness, y'all. Shout out to the best live chat on the internet. I want to say thank y'all so much for everybody who jumped in. If you don't mind, do me a favor, please just type the word mods in the chat. They do such a good job of making sure everything goes right. So thank you so much to the mods. Even if they weren't even up in here for a long time, I just want to say thank you to them all. Thank you again to Chris for blessing 5 people with memberships. Mike, please forgive me. And thank you again to Alicia for becoming a brand new member. Hopefully you'll be like, man, this was a great decision. We don't want to ruin it for you. But y'all, thank y'all so much. Tomorrow is Thankful Thursday. The plan is to do body cam bingo tomorrow night. We got some things we're working on. Looking forward to sharing those with y'all real soon. We might just turn it into this body cam watch party and maybe not have to focus on bingo so much, but we'll see. Maybe do bingo a little bit, watch parties a little bit. And of course, on Friday, we got Friday Night Lights. I might have a guest come through on Friday. This Friday coming up. Should be something fun. But prayerfully, Lord willing, you all had a great week. Excuse me. Hopefully you all had a great week this week, and I'm looking forward to having a great conversation. Thank you all so much for watching my Baron Coleman video earlier today. Please go check that one out. Again, I would love for that one as well. Hey, by the way, the video by Lauren the Mortician, man, y'all, I really want to know what y'all thought about that one. And Lauren is discussing Baron's philosophy or theories, please forgive me, his theories on Charlie Kirk's funeral, his autopsy, medical examination being too quick, being too fast. I'm going to drop it in the chat. Y'all go check it out. I want to know what you thought about it if you didn't see it already. If you did see it, go back over into the comment section. Give me some comments on it. For real, though. I really want to hear what y'all think about that one because I thought that was a super good and very informative video. I don't want to always do videos where we're just giving commentary, but I do want to give you some things that maybe give you some insight on some areas that you don't know about. Like, I don't know a lot about death care, so that's something that we could all learn from. I did a video about a month ago about how they do jury selection. I thought that was super informative because especially on the heels of the Carmelo Anthony, a lot of us didn't know how they do select a jury. And it's super important to know how to do that. So those are some things I'm going to try to do more videos like that. So I do want to hear what y'all think about it because that's how it helps guide me, if you will, into helping put out some different types of content. So thank you so much, everybody. I really do appreciate it. So go check out that Lauren video. Check out all my videos on Baron Coleman. Bless his heart, man. That guy is such a buffoon. Good gracious. Help him, Lord. Help him, Jesus. Please. Y'all, thank y'all so much. I am going to go eat my dinner, and then I'm going to get ready to go to bed. So thank y'all so much to everybody in the chat. If you don't mind, please tip your waiters on the way out the door. Go ahead and go hit those green hearts on the way out. Let me see. I'll give you a nice little closing song so y'all have a little bit of time to say goodbye to your people. How about that? All right. Thank y'all again, everybody, for tapping in this evening. It's been a lot of fun. I don't remember who it was that suggested we do this, but thank you so much for suggesting that we do the watch party. As traumatic as it still was good. So thank you again for that. Everybody, tip your waiters on the way out the door. Enjoy yourselves, and I'll see you real soon. Grace and peace.
These are the Proverbs of Solomon, son of David, king of Israel, for gaining wisdom and discipline, for comprehending words of insight, and for receiving instruction in wise living, and in righteousness, justice, and equity, to impart prudence to the simple, and knowledge and discretion to the young. Let the wise listen and gain instruction, and the discerning acquire wise counsel by understanding the proverbs and parables, the sayings and riddles of the wise. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and discipline. Listen, my son, to your father's instruction, and do not forsake the teaching of your mother, for they are a garland of grace on your head and a pendant around your neck. My son, if sinners entice you, do not yield to them. If they say, come along, let us lie in wait for blood, let us ambush the innocent without cause, let us swallow them alive like Sheol, and like those descending into the pit, we will find its possessors. Wisdom calls out in the street. She lifts her voice in the square. In the main concourse she cries aloud. At the city gate she makes her speech. How long, oh simple ones, will you love your simple ways? How long will scoffers delight in their scorn and fools hate knowledge? If you had repented at my rebuke, then surely I would have poured out my spirit on you. I would have made my words known to you, because you refused my call and no one took my outstretched hand, because you neglected all my counsel and wanted none of my correction in turn. I will mock your calamity. I will sneer when terror strikes you, when your dread comes like a storm and your destruction like a whirlwind. When distress and anguish overwhelm you, then they will call on me, but I will not answer. They will earnestly seek me, but will not find me, for they hated knowledge and chose not to fear the Lord. They accepted none of my counsel. They despised all my reproof. So they will eat the fruit of their own way and be filled with their own devices. For the waywardness of the simple will slay them, and the complacency of fools will destroy them. But whoever listens to me will dwell in safety, secure from the fear of evil.